Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be talking about liberals' continuing efforts to maintain control of the government, and you won't want to miss David's rant of the week, 'Twas Pelosi's Night Before Christmas. Then, you'll never guess the fastest new growth segment in the firearm business. And finally, David and Gretchen will take another look at Illinois' depleting population. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house ran Congressman Conyers and Waters, the louse. New bills about guns and junk news they share in hopes that Pelosi would soon be there. The Senate's in recess, to their families they fled, to seek a safe space and play with Play-Doh in bed. The Senate's collegial, we don't fuss like the House, said senators fleetingly as they flew off like scared grouse. Congressmen left to the aisle, stayed to fix matters, to deaden Trump's victory and, well, to clean up blood splatters. Then on Independence Avenue there arose such a clatter, congressmen ran to the window to see what was the matter. The moon highlighted a sea of garlands, roses, and more, a flowery blanket twixt private jet and Capitol door, when to the congressman's wondering eyes should appear Pelosi, dressed as Santa, with a bag of political smear. Back on her throne, Pelosi offered opinions, while pulling out of her bag gifts for her minions. "Here's a Russian conspiracy," she said to one hack, "and for you, this hooker who'll swear Trump had attacked." Long into the night went the liberal cabal, with Pelosi pointing fingers to one and at all. The recount to prove a rigged election pointed to the DNC and to a bad candidate selection. At dawn's early light, there was but one thing to be seen. Hillary was toast, but Pelosi was still queen. The White House, the Senate, and House were all gone, and on governorships and state houses, John Q. was still wrong. But Pelosi loudly declared the party plank was still strong. It was John Q. who screwed up. John Q. voted wrong. Third-rate actors and musicians pushed voting for Hillary. What they needed was a candidate not marked for the pillory. So Pelosi was made the big cheese again, with liberals ignoring the who, what, where, and when. And given the fact liberals have no common sense, liberal control of anything may finally be past tense. And that is my rant for the week.
Wow, I didn't know you could rhyme.
It took me a while to do that.
I'm not good at it either. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Well, I would
with
hope
you.
you'd be laughing at the rant.
I'm laughing with you because I'm not good at rhyming either.
It's Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We passed out a little while ago, and we
We're
actually
back.
we actually have done basically no show prep whatsoever because we were unconscious, semi-comatose from overstuffing.
Well, I'm sleep deprived for like the last 3 days too.
Yeah, I am for the last 50 years. But
yeah, I was gonna say you are every day, but
yeah,
the last 3 days were rough.
I hope everybody had a nice Christmas, though.
Yes.
What can I say? I mean, we're going to take you skiing. It's not as great as the thing you gave me last year with the train, though. That tops everything.
Well, yeah.
The train, learning to drive a train was.
Last year was kind of a big year. I gave my dad that Frosty the Snowman. He still thinks that's
out front.
He still thinks that's the bee's knees.
Yeah. The bee's knees. Now there's something you don't hear often. The liberals are still. It's just funny. Nothing they've tried has worked. I mean, they try to recount. It gave Trump more votes. I think that's pretty funny.
It exposed more fraud on the Democratic side.
On the Democratic side.
Yeah.
It's not going well for them.
It's kind of priceless, actually.
Yeah. And when you consider that they basically lost everything, presidency, the House, the Senate, not that they had control of all of them, but they've lost more seats. They lost governorships. They lost more control. No, they lost control of more.
They gained 1 or 2 seats in the Senate, I believe.
Still not in control.
But they're still not in control, right?
I mean, and what did they do? When you really, when you've mastered something, you stick with what you know.
Well, if you're good at it.
If you're good at it.
That's probably what you should just keep on doing.
So Pelosi's.
At least we're happy that Nancy Pelosi is just going to keep on doing the same thing.
Well, and the funny thing is, she goes on all the talk shows and she goes, "What? There's nothing wrong with the party flying." I'm sorry. I think that's pretty funny. It is funny. When you lose in everything and you think you've got a winning party position.
Well, and for the last several elections, they've been pointing at us. They've been pointing at the RNC, going, your messaging is all wrong. You lose because you have crappy messaging, and it's like, okay, now who's got crappy messaging?
Didn't work out the way they'd hoped, I think. So now, they literally. I think it would be fair to say they literally tried every dirty trick they could come up with. They tried to coerce electors. They got a few, I think, but nothing anywhere near significance.
They might have convinced a few Trump electors to vote for Hillary, but more Hillary electors ended up voting for Trump. So actually more got flipped the other way, which is just too funny. That's just too rich.
I think people have just gotten tired of what they're doing. Even people who've agreed with some of the basic tenets of liberalism are saying, enough. I mean, this is crazy.
I saw a really good article on Facebook this week, and it was like, dear liberals, I'm done with you, and it was from somebody who typically had been a liberal, but they were like, you all are just over the top, and the fact that they're not choosy at all, like the leadership just says, okay, this is our cause du jour, okay, we're going to be pro LGBTQ, whatever, QRS
cause
TV.
du jour. Yeah.
And they're not introspective about it at all. They just say, okay, this is what we're going to push now, and they just expect everybody to just fall in line and just do it. And it has more to do with trendiness and fitting in than it does with right and wrong, than it does with really like having a strong stand about something.
They also, it's very superficial. They talk about, okay, we want, these people are, they're are marginalized or whatever, and so they pick some group du jour, but they don't do anything about it. They just make a lot of noise and puff up their feathers, and unlike conservatives are, you know what? The nice thing about being conservative is it's simple. you basically believe something, and that's pretty much it. We just don't, we don't change. This is who we are.
Right.
So,
but I would agree. I mean, to some degree, I would agree with you. I mean, I think some liberals act on their supposed beliefs du jour.
I'm sure some do.
But I think conservatives, and this has been proven actually, there's been research done of who gives more money to philanthropic causes, and it's always conservatives.
Oh, right, absolutely.
Conservatives, what is it, like 3 times as much as
liberals are
do?
good at giving away other people's money, not their own.
Right, through the funnel of government, through the siphon funnel system of government, but not really actually sacrificing in order to actually like write a check and give it to a cause that they believe in, or actually go volunteer or do something. Conservatives are the ones who do that.
Right.
And so, if I say
I'm often faith-based.
Right. If I say I'm pro-life, I'm probably volunteering for pro-life causes or writing checks to pro-life causes and that sort of thing. And as you say, generally fairly consistent. It's not just du jour. It's like over a lifetime.
Who we are.
It's 20 years ago I was protesting outside of Planned Parenthood, and now I go to life banquets and write checks. And so, it's like, it's fairly consistent.
And it's really the easy thing. People can say what they want about W, but W was an ideologue. He told you exactly what he felt. You may agree, you may not, but he told you exactly what he thought, and he did exactly what he would say he was going to do. Now, again, you may not always like everything, and I didn't like everything, but it's just a straightforward guy. It is a basic tenet of conservacy that
in general,
you believe things.
In general, you could almost say Obama's very similar.
Oh, Obama is very similar.
Definitely an ideologue.
Absolutely.
Definitely an ideologue, and definitely, did everything he could to cram those ideals.
He doesn't waver.
To cram those ideals down America's throat, whether we liked it or not. But I do think that he did it in a semi-lawless way with all the executive orders, not trying to get things passed through Congress the way they should be.
And some flat-out lawless stuff.
I think W probably was a little bit more, by the book as far as...
A little more sophisticated about it.
Well, but just a little bit more... Maybe you would almost say even finesse, which doesn't really seem like a word that you would use with W, but but compared to Obama, who's like a sledgehammer,
it is. Give us a call, 815-205-1584. Give us a call and weigh in on some of these pithy matters. We're coming up to a break here in a minute, but. We need to talk a little more. So, one of the reasons that that liberals probably don't donate anything is Soros makes up for it. He basically donates for everyone on the surface of the earth.
Oh, yes.
So when we come back, let me talk a little more about this. We're going to talk about Hillary, some of the reasons people didn't like Hillary. But all that and more when we come back with more On Target Radio after these messages.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teach teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
We missed you last week.
Me?
No, we didn't. You were there. It was a week before you, the month before you were. You know what? Never mind.
What are you talking about?
I haven't slept this year. About the ISRA meeting.
Oh, yeah. No, I was there.
That's true. You were. And I saved a seat for you, too.
I didn't win a gun just like you didn't win a gun.
How quickly can you change your name? When they call out a name that somebody's not there, do you have a lawyer standing by?
No.
Probably
so.
not. No. Keith Olbermann, who is how would you best describe him? Obnoxious SOB?
Washed up has-been obnoxious SOB?
He is finding his voice, which he has to because they cut it off and threw it away not long ago.
Really? Does he have to find his voice?
Yeah, that's true. He's saying that, it's interesting. He's saying frustrated, weaker minds are being primed to lash out violently. He feels that if you don't agree with the progressive agenda and that you support Trump, that then literally you should go to jail. He's quoted as saying it's a coup, it's a war, it's an attack by Russia, and those supporting it are traitors. And of course, he's talking about Trump, who's has said that he gets along fine with Putin. Trump has made a big deal about that. And Olbermann is talking about how, you have a president coming into office who's a friend of the Russians, and that's being a traitor and all that. They seem to forget that Hillary Clinton sold off 20% of our nuclear capability to the Russians for a $500,000 speaking fee for Bill.
Mm-hmm. And that she was funneling money from other countries through the Clinton Foundation, and that, how many things did Obama do that were basically treason, which is defined by aid and comfort to the enemy.
I don't think you can count them at this point. And
I know that I've lost count.
Yeah, out of that White House, when you do a sum total, when you do the Excel spreadsheet.
I was going to say, it's a long list. An Excel spreadsheet would be appropriate.
Yeah, it's interesting. And what I find particularly funny, and this is just classic liberalism, it really is, they're in bed with the Russians selling them uranium. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Trump gets elected and says, I get along with Putin just fine. Oh, he's a traitor. And anybody that supports him is a traitor and should go to jail. Mm-hmm. And actually, they're actually talking about, when they say that, being a traitor, by law, that has a very clear definition. And the penalty for being a traitor is death, right? Mm-hmm. So they're literally, talking about, I don't think they chop heads off. That's a little too Middle East, but yeah, probably put you in the chair or something.
I don't know. I think it's like a really long time at Leavenworth or something.
Or it could be 25 minutes of forced listening to liberal radio. That would do it too.
Could be forced to listen to a Pelosi speech.
Your head blows up.
Yeah.
So
it's cheaper than the electric chair.
That's true. And it's conservation.
Yeah.
Saving energy.
That's right.
They social media is regaling the liberal world now. They have adopted the liberal line about not allowing junk news, and so they've shut down people's Facebook pages. I don't know where this stuff is going. I don't know if is this stuff that Trump can turn the tide on. I don't even know.
I don't think so.
This is ideology, and I mean, Facebook is actually Facebook's not privately owned. It's It's a
publicly traded.
It's a publicly
yeah.
traded corporation.
Mm-hmm.
But and I absolutely loved. Did you see the list of fact checkers that Facebook has?
Right. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Was I here last week?
Yeah, in body.
It's a hooker and I'm serious. Did you see? I don't think we talked about it. That just got revealed this week.
Oh well, the fact checkers they were using were like Snopes and ABC News and
yeah,
USA Today.
I'm saying, do you know who the actual people are?
No.
In Snopes, one of them was a hooker. Another one, what is it? Oh, I don't think I saved that, which is really astounding that I wouldn't. I don't know why I would do that. If you Google,
maybe it was from the Boston Times.
If you, it was below the fold, the woman's fold on the cover of the Boston Times.
You probably discovered it was from the Boston Times, and then you're like, oh, I better throw this away.
No, I don't think so. I think if we Google it.
So yeah, this guy from Tim Brown from Freedom Outpost, and he's one of the ones. Freedom Outpost is one of the websites that I've been using as an example of. They're going to label us fake news, but it's not fake news. It's real conservative reporting of actual news that's out there. He says Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter have chosen their side in the war on free speech and freedom of the press, and obviously they have chosen liberal side. He says this is how they're going to start shutting down alternative media and free speech on the web by blocking us, locking us out, and hacking the information. We're being targeted with limited exposure on Facebook. Our emails are being listed as spam by anonymous sources, and they're being listed as fake news.
Well, I mean, we're fake news.
Well, right, just like Freedom Outpost is fake news.
Yeah.
Of course it's not.
We did talk about Snopes and a bunch of different like companies, but they specifically somewhere had Facebook fact checker. Is a porn. One is a made porn. One is a hooker. The founder of that embezzled money. I mean, these are their fact checkers.
Well, you know what? We believe in second chances, don't we?
And it's probably better than having the New York Times.
Well, right.
At least a hooker knows what she's doing. There's nothing more honest than a hooker. Let's face it.
It's the oldest profession.
It really is. It's pretty black and white. What do you do for a living? Well, I sell myself. I mean, your advertising is your justification. What are you going to do?
We actually have our first caller.
Whoa, a caller. I have no idea how this works. It doesn't show up on my thing.
Okay. You want me to go ahead and
watch me dropping?
Want me to go ahead and take it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We're just waiting for something.
Okay. We're like holding our breath.
Hi, how you doing this evening?
Good. How about yourself?
There he is. Is this John? Who is?
No, this is Abraham.
Oh, okay. Hi, how are you? Doing good. Merry Christmas to you. You're our first caller.
Merry Christmas as well.
You're our first caller. That's great.
We need like dun dun dun.
That's true. Little trumpets. What can we do for you this evening?
So I've been busy, working a lot lately. I don't know if you guys talked about this or not. Regarding with the Senate bill regarding the suppressors.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'd like to know, what's the status on it? Do we have the votes? What's the next step?
Yeah. Here's the deal. I know one of the key people in that is Todd Vandermeide, and because that's kind of his bailiwick. And I haven't talked to Todd in a couple of weeks, but. He told me he thinks he has votes lined up to get it passed. That when they come back, when do they come back? I don't remember. It's coming up a week or two?
Well, yeah, it's probably after the new year.
Yeah, it's probably a week or two. They'll be back in session, and I think they're going to call it. And he seems to have a positive impression of it. Are you itching to get a suppressor?
Okay. I'm sorry?
Are you itching to get a suppressor?
I would say yes. I mean, obviously it's going to take its time, even once the bill gets passed. It's nice to have one, that's for sure. That way we can, get along with the other states that does Class 3 suppressors.
I've always found it interesting.
So-
I've always found it interesting that in Europe, if you want to hunt in Europe, most countries, and of course Europe, is wildly anti-gun to begin with, but most countries, if you want to hunt, you are required by law to use a suppressor. And you can't get more anti-gun than Europe is, and naturally the Illinois somehow or another managed to trump it. Well, bad choice of words. Beat it.
They've got it mixed up.
So, yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, and I hope you have great holidays.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, take care. Well, there you go. We got one. We snagged one.
Our first call. Apparently, there's a little delay in,
There is.
in us talking and him hearing it. So
Is that right?
Right, there is a little bit of a delay.
That's uncomfortable.
That's the internet for you.
it's unfortunate, but
We might have to go with a different solution.
That's why. Is that why your clock is 1 minute different than mine? Bouncing it off the satellite, coming back, that kind of thing?
Exactly. It's the
I have
wires and the satellites.
I have
and
no
all
idea.
that stuff.
This man knows more stuff about this than I will ever
yes,
know.
Yes,
I don't-
that's why I try not to ask too many questions because then he'll answer them and then I'll.
Then you're lost.
Right.
Yeah.
I really don't want to know.
Just give up completely. The one thing I do know about all of this is the only way to solve the little problems we have and make it work better is to take a gigantic
keep
bag of money.
Right.
Just a gigantic bag of money and drop it at B&H Photo in New York, and they have all the equipment that you need. And they will consult for free, and they will tell you.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
For free.
I told Eric I was looking the other day for counsel for an engineer, a radio show.
Uh-huh.
It's $2,500, and that's not without equipment. That's just like the desk.
That is without equipment. yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So those of you who are listening, and actually, that could be a prize to our first caller. He could buy us a console for the engineer.
I'm sure.
Isn't that how don't they give prizes away when you do something?
Yeah, it's usually customary.
I think
It
it's
usually comes from the radio to the listener.
I always get that confused. I don't. Yeah. Last thing we can do is afford to give away stuff right now.
Yes.
We just ran out of that segment, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We certainly did. We still.
That's okay. I don't want to talk about Soros anyway.
Okay, we're done with Soros.
He makes my skin
When we
crawl.
come back, we won't talk about Soros anymore, but we will talk about something when we return after these messages with more on Target Radio.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back. More on Target Radio. Give us a call, 815-205-1584. We've had our first caller. Now, the ice has been broken. It's time to get serious here. So what do you think? Well, you probably know because I gave you the material. But do you think the average person knows what the new, most fastest growing segment of the firearm industry is?
No. I must not have gotten to that article yet.
Ah, yes. Well, it's interesting. It's liberals.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
The liberals now are convinced that there's going to be civil war, probably because they're fomenting it, and they are starting to stockpile guns and ammo for what they're calling the Trump apocalypse. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but buying a gun is, there's not like a genetic imprinting at birth on how to properly use a gun and tactics and all of that.
I actually had arbitration for a civil matter this week, and I was called upon to demonstrate what is proper grip of a handgun during my arbitration. Yeah.
For the car?
Car crash, yeah.
Precisely what did that have to do with the proper grip of a handgun?
Oh, during my treatment, there was an incident where I shot a Desert Eagle on the weekend, and then when I went back into physical therapy, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little messed up. It might have been because of that Desert Eagle.
Just, thinking outside the box on that. Yeah. A 50 caliber Desert Eagle.
Yeah. Just the idea that a Desert Eagle might jack you up a little bit. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah. kind of tunes you up. Yeah. The ad I would like to get for this show, Eric? I'd like to get the ad that was 50 caliber Desert Eagle. It said the ultimate home defense weapon for when the bad guy's hiding behind the refrigerator in your neighbor's house.
Neighbor's house, right?
Yeah. I think that'd be a good commercial to have.
I'm sure we could find that.
Yeah. Well, then YouTube will block us and go
right.
Yeah.
There'll be a dispute.
So liberals are turning out and buying guns for a number of years, particularly when I was teaching, occasionally at the local big gun place. You'd be surprised over the years how many self-professed anti-Second Amendment people I taught one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't even do it. They're all from like the North Shore, up that away, because they wouldn't even go to a gun store anywhere near where they lived, right?
They might see somebody who knew them.
Exactly. You could tell. They didn't say it, but you could tell that they were never going to tell their friends that they owned a gun.
Sure.
But they bought a gun and they were out getting training.
Sure.
And then, they'd go home and write $20 million checks to the anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment
But
campaigns.
as you say, quite appropriately, owning a gun makes you no more able to defend yourself than owning a piano makes you ready to play Carnegie Hall.
True. And the wonderful thing about pulling out a gun and not knowing what you're doing is it tells the other person what your intentions are, and then they just sort of shoot you. Yeah.
Well, if they're equipped to shoot you.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're just,
When's the last time you weren't equipped to shoot?
Before I went to Police Academy.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? See how that works? So, it's interesting. It's interesting that suddenly the people who've been anti-Second Amendment all this time suddenly are beginning to understand the value of the Second Amendment.
Well, I think, this article is not all that convincing, and this is InfoWars. The Liberal Gun Club says that their organization has seen a huge, not quantified, rise in inquiries, spelled incorrectly, since November's election, and a 10% increase in paid members. I wouldn't exactly call that astronomical. And then they're saying that we thought that after the elections and Trump won, we thought that gun sales would go down, but actually the background checks for Black Friday soared to yet another new record for a single day. But it's Christmas. That's fairly typical.
I think the point, though, is there was a period of time when people who would be inclined to buy a gun were going, I'm going to wait and see what happens to the election, because why would I spend $500 or whatever, and then all of a sudden I got to turn it in? So I think you're seeing now a comfort. leading up to the election, you were seeing people who had anxiety and wanted to be prepared in case. Then we got into a period of time where people going, wait, before I spend any money, I want to make sure it's going to be all right. And now we're at green light, time to go. Because you look at our club, Aurora Sportsman's Club. This year we've added over 450 members this year. So people are on the move. They want to shoot. They want to learn. And that's the other interesting thing. People are actually taking courses in tactical, or they're shooting competitions in tactical. It's no longer just kind of standing there pointing at a target and shooting around at a time. It's moving and shooting now.
Although I will say, like what they're saying about the liberals all of a sudden getting interested, I will say that a few months ago, like back in, I think it was like October, November, we did have a couple of classes of people that I was like not too sure about. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
Remember?
I
think
that one guy in particular.
I think my exact words were, "That's it. We're done. We've hit the bottom. We may as well just close it down." I think those were my exact words.
We had one guy in that class write in his evaluation, how did he say this? At least they didn't talk a lot about politics or something like that. I can't remember.
He said that just because we want to take concealed carry doesn't mean that we don't. Well, actually, what he said to me and to my face in class was that I shouldn't say that anybody who is anti-gun is, I shouldn't be vilifying them as liberal, because there are some people who are pro-Second Amendment, but they think that all these restrictions that Illinois has are reasonable.
That is true.
And I'm fairly certain that he does not work for the Illinois State Police.
No. In fact, a very, very good friend of ours, I won't mention his name, very good friend of ours, who runs a school, got audited. And they wanted to see his records, and they said they wanted names and phone numbers of students. They were going to call him and ask him, how the class went, and they looked through all his stuff, and apparently they don't sit in on the class.
Oh, really?
Well, and if you think about it, he told me, I think he said there's only 3 people in the entire state that are doing it. They're not going to sit in a class.
I thought that somebody said they were hiring outside contractors to
I don't think that came
check
about,
up.
because that requires
money.
And we have
none.
Right.
We actually have negative money.
We do have another caller.
Holy cripes.
We have Bill from Evanston.
Bill from Evanston, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, David. How are you?
We are doing fine. This is going to be a little bit like when I was in Vietnam and I got to call home on Mars. One of us should probably say over, and then the next person can talk. There's a time delay. But, Bill, what can we do for you this evening?
Oh, not too much. I wasn't calling about any particular topic. It was basically just to wish you and Gretchen and Eric and all the other listeners a Merry Christmas. I'm glad you guys are back on the air again, and I just want to tell you to keep up the great work, and I really enjoy listening to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's we appreciate that, Bill. And you're up in Evanston. You're right in the middle of. They don't like guns.
They freak out over guns, but yes, I'm here and doing my part.
Well, that's good.
Good on you, as they say in Canada.
So you did you used to listen to us when we were on WIND?
On that other outlet, yes, sir.
we bear them no ill will. We don't mind giving them a little free advertising.
Yeah. Well, we've got friends on that. Joe
Right.
Walsh.
No, it was, as a matter of fact, as the temperature here in Evanston was starting to rise overnight, I was thinking back about how I enjoyed so much going out on Sunday night onto my deck, having an adult beverage, and listening to the show and getting a chuckle and some knowledge out of your show.
I think the serious question is what part of it got the chuckle and what part of it got the serious knowledge. It's we've always said
all of the insightful stuff was the knowledge, and then the funny stuff is where I got the chuckle.
It's
really logical. I think he was hoping it was more neatly divided between David and Gretchen.
No, definitely it was not.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Well, we've always said that we take our subjects seriously. We just don't take ourselves seriously.
Well, that's probably a good policy. It's like, I'm kind of, I have my own way of approaching life, and that if I keep my expectations low, I'm never disappointed.
Well, it sounds like we have another co-host in the making here. Well, we appreciate you calling. Thank you very much. And tell your friends to listen. We're trying
My pleasure. I do tell all my friends to listen, but they think it's going to freak them out or something.
Well, that's what our parents said, too. We freak them out a little bit, but,
Yeah, that's true.
And the beauty of this...
Well, thank you guys very much again, and Merry Christmas. Thanks for spending some of your Christmas Day with us.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, too. Well, look at that. 2 in one show.
Amazing.
That we had shows on WIND we didn't get to.
I thought it would never happen.
Yeah. We're paying them? Did we pay them?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't pay them. No.
Wow. No, that's great. Well, son of a gun. Anyway, we were talking about... I don't know what we're talking
Liberals.
about. Liberals, yeah. We always
Taking
talk about
shooting
liberals.
lessons.
Shooting lessons, that's right. That's right.
And our classes, which irks me.
Well, interesting thing, and we've kind of talked about this before. I think one of the reasons they're arming themselves is Trump now, I guess, officially has a more conservative cabinet than Reagan did.
Yeah, that's what, who was this? Richard, I can't read his handwriting.
Well, Tillerson.
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Rex.
It's like Vieque or something.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, according to him, it's more conservative than Reagan.
Well, when you go down the list and you look at him, and I always go back to Mad Dog Mattis. I love. I've heard he doesn't actually like.
Never gets old, does it?
Yeah, well, I've heard he doesn't like to be called Mad Dog, which I can't imagine why. He's a Marine.
Well, I imagine it's kind of like Jeffy. We don't call him Jeffy to his face.
I do.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah, I do, because I just figure he won't kill me. You never know, he might, but I think...
Well, it's one of those things. You frequently don't call somebody their name to their face.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
No, if I'm looking at you, I don't need to get your attention. I don't need to say your name.
When you walk through the door tonight, what did I say?
Yeah, but you're different.
Fortunately, we're going to go to a commercial break shortly. Yeah, I'm different. I said, Gershon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gershon is here. Which was funny because you just left about an hour before. But all right, we're going to come back, and I don't even know where we are in the program. It doesn't matter. We've had 2 callers. We're happy. We had Christmas dinner.
Done.
We're good. We'll be back with something that we call On Target Radio after a couple of messages.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Over a half-century ago, a respected firearms store opened. It started as a hobby for Mike Schrank and has now served generations of customers. Schrank's Smoke & Gun retains a family atmosphere and now carries the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County, from pistols, rifles, and shotguns to hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. You'll also find full gunsmith services from simple detail cleaning to complete rebuilds. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm in a Floyd cord or looking to add to your collection, visit Schrank Smoke & Gun. If you have a firearm to sell, their recent sale was so successful, they need your firearms. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's humidors, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org, or call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke & Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Chicagoland's largest fishing, hunting, travel, and outdoor show, the Chicago Outdoor Sports Show, will be January 19 to 22 at the Rosemont Convention Center. Dream of what you will do in warmer weather at the Chicago Outdoor Sports Show. I am available this winter for your Girls' Night In get-together. Contact us now to reserve your date. I will come to your house and talk to you and your friends about firearm selection, demonstrate many holsters, talk about concealed carry, and give you plenty of time to try the holsters on for yourself. Call, email, or Facebook Safer USA for more information or to book a party. Mark your calendars. Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day this year will be April 5th in Springfield, Illinois. The following Safer USA class is at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
So the policies of the Speaker of the House in the state of Illinois have been driving people out of Illinois like rats leaving a sinking ship.
Yes.
So in 2016, the numbers from the U.S. Census data tell us in 2016, we have lost 37,508 people in Illinois.
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
And I remember a couple of months ago, we found some data that was collected. Many of the people exiting are $1 million net worth or more.
Right, yeah. Illinois policy has been saying for a few years now that the people who are leaving have a better income than the people who are coming in. And so even though it reduces the net loss in as far as number of residents, it has a greater impact on net loss of tax revenue.
And so the question becomes, if you're driving people who pay taxes out of the state, and you're replacing them with people who pay little or no taxes because of income status, who's going to pay all these bills?
Good question.
Now,
Good question. And they want to raise the tax rate too.
There's
so then
a perfect
more people
answer.
leave. I mean, it's just a cycle.
And some of these people are going, well, you know, economy was bad. Well, as it turns out, there are only 8 states in the union that are losing people, and Illinois is proud to be on that list of 8.
Yes.
And they started losing back in 2014. That year they lost 11,961. It's just you know. I just kind of was tugging Rauner's chain when we were at that thing, and I was talking to him, and I said, you know, you're really a bad guy because you're trying to force the Democrats to follow the Constitution of the state and have a balanced budget. And he did a polite political laugh, and nice seeing you again. Turned around, and walked away. But literally, Madigan doesn't get it. I mean, he makes his money by getting tax breaks for people who have corporate buildings, right?
Sure.
Where does he think? Who's going to pay for this stuff?
I don't know. I don't know what he thinks is going to happen. It's really hard to wrap your mind around that, because when you look at the math of it, it doesn't work out.
No.
The math doesn't work at all.
And they love to say, well, you know, it's people getting tired of winter. But the study was done, and it turns out it isn't people being tired of winter at all. The study that was done said number one reason was high taxes. Number 2 was the state budget stalemate, which, of course, they're trying to blame on Rauner. But Rauner's guilty of one thing. We have to stick to the Constitution.
Right. Which says we have to have a balanced budget. Right.
That's it. That's his crime. And crime is another big one, and unemployment rate, and then finally the weather. You know, and we've talked about this before, but never been a big fan of the dailies, but the reality is they weren't shooting people and holding people up on the Magnificent Mile and in Lincoln Park, the near north. That was just strictly off-limits territory to bad guys. And now they're doing it fairly routinely.
Well, and the other thing that proves it's not the weather is a lot of people leave and just go to Indiana. I mean, they want to keep their job, which may be, you know, it's in this metropolitan area, so they just commute from Indiana instead of you know, commuting within Illinois. So they're not getting any better weather, probably worse weather, actually. In Lake County, Indiana is probably worse than Illinois.
Well, and the other thing is you could ask any person from Indiana, what in the hell is a Hoosier? None of them know. You're moving to a state where they don't even know who they are, you know? And I have nothing against people in Indiana, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, if you live in Illinois, Illini was not an Indian tribe. It was just sort of a general term for the Indian population of a number of tribes. I'll tell you what bothers me about it all. And I mean, you know, I make fun of Chicago, but the fact is, Chicago is a pretty cool city. I mean,
it's very cool.
All the stuff that there is to do in the city of Chicago is mind blowing.
If you could bring yourself to go there
and make it home alive,
and you know, hopefully come back. You know, yeah, there's lots of great restaurants to go to. There's lots of fun stuff to see. There's lots of fun stuff to do, but you know, for me, it's not worth it.
Well, and I have to say, I would have never thought I would have felt that way, but I do. You know, when violent crime, for the most part, was always sort of in specific areas. You know, enclaves of those people, right? Now they're shooting people on the Ryan. They're mugging and shooting people on the Mag Mile, Lincoln Park,
Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you even if you keep your nose clean, you don't go to where you shouldn't go, you still have a chance of getting shot. Now, it's true, it's an infinitesimally small chance, but even still, I mean.
Right. I mean, if I stay down here in Will County, I'm exponentially safer than if I go to anywhere in Cook County.
Exactly.
You know, especially Chicago, but really anywhere in Cook County.
And add to all that, Madigan wanting more tax money. His solution to everything, you got a problem? Raise the taxes.
Right.
And they're just driving people away.
See, you and Madigan have something in common. Your solution to everything is just show up earlier.
Well, there's not to be said for having more time to prepare. I was an Army guy. You weren't late. When you're in military, there's no such thing as late.
Sure.
There's being on time or going into stockade. They go, Lombardo, you're 30 seconds late. You're under arrest. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
We have another caller if you want.
Holy cripes. You sure you're not paying people? Why? Oh, I see it. It's here. It's here. It's
You
here.
want to go ahead and take it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening. How are you this evening? Or not? I thought I picked it up.
You did pick it up.
And did he disappear? He must have.
Hello?
Oh,
There we go.
Raymond?
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, how you all doing?
I'm doing good. Merry Christmas.
to you.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Listen, I wanted to call and ask, can you briefly speak a little bit about this bad habit people have of firing guns on New Year's Eve?
It's funny that you say
is
that.
so funny. My mom said the exact same thing.
That's. Do you know her mother?
Are you friends with my mom?
That's interesting because she asked us to do that very same thing. So yes, Raymond, we will do that. Anything else we can do for you?
Keep broadcasting. It's really great you came on tonight. I
you-
was looking forward to this.
Are you the Raymond that likes to PM us on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
It's nice to talk
Thank
to
you
you.
very much. And we will. When you hang up, we will.
Great show, guy.
Thank you. We appreciate that
Thank
very
you.
much. Tell your friends.
So shooting guns in the air.
Shooting guns in the air. So this is really stupid.
It's not a good idea.
No, and that's on a good day.
Right. It's first of all, it's illegal.
And there's that. But
So second of all,
what trumps illegal is dead.
Right.
What goes up?
second is physics.
Yeah.
Right.
What goes up must come down. So the stuff you see in the movies where all the banditos are happy and they're shooting in the air, you take 20 guys shooting revolvers into the air, or even a semi-automatic revolver, like the guy threatened me with last week.
Semi-automatic. That's my favorite kind. The
He said-
semi-automatic revolvers.
These are the people who are going to revolt against us. Yeah.
Mm.
But you put lead up in the air, it is going to come back down.
It's gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to come back down. It's really dumb.
It's going to hit a house or a car or a person or a pet, and it's going to be bad. And I understand there are places where they don't necessarily enforce the fact that that's illegal. It happens and no one necessarily goes to jail. Nobody necessarily gets, arrested for negligent discharge. But the fact of the matter is, it's dangerous and it's wrong, and you really shouldn't do it.
It's stupid.
It is stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. So yeah, don't shoot in the air.
As I say in concealed carry, all my students can attest to this. I say this every single week. Straight up is not a safe direction.
That's true. Unless you have an umbrella made of steel.
Yes.
But,
Kevlar umbrella.
Kevlar umbrella, exactly. So yeah, this New Year's Eve, don't go out shooting a gun in the air.
Yes.
If you want to shoot something,
Please don't
shoot
do
yourself in the foot. That'll give you something to do for a day or two.
Get it out of your system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's interesting. 3 callers. It can't be as simple as the fact that we just put the phone number on the thing, can it?
Yes, it can.
Yeah, I think it can. We had
Okay,
one person comment that they have short attention span, so.
You talking about me?
No.
No.
Oh,
A listener.
could be me. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Illinois Policy Institute says that the business and job opportunities are stronger in neighboring states, which sends Illinois residents to other parts of the Midwest. And among the groups affected by that, or among the groups that are acting on that, are younger working age adults who make up some of the largest groups leaving the state. And it really speaks to economic concerns being at the heart of this.
Well, and one of the reasons why there are better job opportunities in other states is because the states aren't as draconian with their taxation policy. Not only does the high taxes affect the taxpayer,
Right.
but it also
They create a friendly business environment.
Well, they don't when you raise taxes.
No, but
it's-
I'm saying the other
Yeah.
states create a
Right.
friendly business
Yeah.
environment by not having excessive taxes
somebody was
and regulations too. That what
They
we
go
talked
hand in
about,
hand.
what we talked about before of how long does it take to set up a new business, and
Yeah.
Illinois and Cook County is one of the worst
yeah.
in the whole country. Not even just in Illinois, but in the whole country.
I used to revel in Hong Kong. They were very proud of telling you that you can land at the airport in Hong Kong in the morning and be an established business by the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
That is not true in Illinois.
No, it is not true.
And an awful lot of it is politically oriented, where you actually have to go and do your thing. Oh, yeah, you have to do your thing. Right. Okay.
When it's 8:59, you have to do your thing.
We'd like to thank you for joining us tonight, and we appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and announcer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County Grassroots Division of the ISRA, Shrank Smokin' Guns, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope you'll listen next week. We'll have more Red Meat issues that affect your life.